There's just bodies everywhere. Everywhere. I thought it was just the carriage under the bridge at first, but then I had a look on the other side of the bridge. The locomotive's on its side, and one carriage, all you can see is the floor of it. It's on its side. It's had the top ripped off it. The others have jackknifed into it. It's just dreadful.
Hey, ma'am, have you got somebody in there?
I think so. Can I go and see? Can I go and see?
What makes you think there's somebody in there?
Well, it's the 8 o'clock train from Parramatta.
Yeah.
She always gets that train.
Who's that?
Jenny.
Your daughter?
Yes, and she hasn't arrived at work. I can't go down there.
January 1977. The 6:09 a.m. Mount Victoria to Sydney Central service gets ready from departure from the sidings at Mount Victoria. After a short while, it departs the sidings towards Sydney. The train consists of 46 class electric locomotive 4620 and several coaches, consisting of the wooden S-type carriage stock that had become widespread across the New South Wales rail network. The locals nicknamed this service the Slugger because it stops at every station crawling down the line. These stations will be Mount Victoria, Blackheath, Medlow Bath, Katoomba, Leura, Wentworth Falls, Bullaburra, Lawson, Hazelbrook, Woodford, Lyndon, before passing through the sites of where the closed Numantia and Alphington stations were. Onwards it would go to Falcon Bridge, Springwood, Valley Heights, and then it would pass the closed Carrabah station before stopping at Warramoo, Blaxland, Glenbrook and Lapston, where there once was a zigzag railway and an old diversion. After this it would leave the Blue Mountains, before arriving at Emu Plains and Penrith, where it would only stop at major destinations inside of Sydney, such as Blacktown and Parramatta, before terminating at Central. 4620 had quite a bad record, as in 1965, it had run away at Wentworth Falls and caused a big derailment to occur as it flew off the tracks. In 1971, the railways were transferred from the New South Wales Government Railway to the New South Wales Public Transport Commission, which meant that it would get maintained by a different organisation. The PCC engineers had inspected the track between Granville and Parramatta, which was just the section the train was soon going to enter. At 8:10 a.m, one thing is troubling the train as it hurtles through Sydney. Time. It was 3 minutes late as it arrives into Parramatta. All mainline signals are green, giving the driver the ability to head down the line to Strathfield at full speed, giving him the chance to regain the 3 minutes lost. But he doesn't know that his train is not safe. The train starts to shake as the worn-out wheels begin to ever so slightly rise up on the dilapidated tracks, but he doesn't know. He is only following the signal's instructions. It gets to 73 kilometers an hour. When it reached lead 73, the wheels then set all hell breaking loose. 4620 derails as it skids along the tracks, kicking up stones and other debris from hundreds of feet, creating an incredible cloud of dust. 4620 is headed straight for the stanchions of the Bold Street Road Bridge and slams into them, knocking them over like dominoes and running them over, causing the engine to flip onto its side. It continues skidding until it strikes a power pole, uprooting it and making it fly back from the engine, being caught in the electric power line. The first carriage gets sliced open, killing 8 people as the train finally comes to rest. The rest of the carriages are still upright on the tracks, with the 3rd and 4th ones lying underneath the unstable bridge. The passengers underneath the bridge are not all okay, despite the bridge not being collapsed. Gas that was kept inside the coaches for winter heating leaked as people were overcome by gas poisoning. Then, a car goes over the bridge, with its weight causing the most horrifying event. The bridge collapsed onto the wooden coaches, crushing the passengers right in their seats. Continuous screaming erupts, startling everyone nearby, as civilians escape onto the tracks. People are pulled from the windows of carriages as they panic. Some of the people uninjured in the crash helped those trapped in the crushed carriages. The driver shockingly survived the crash, crawling out of the shattered front window. Underneath the bridge, those who still survived struggled to breathe inside the squashed and thin coaches. Rescue squads have difficulty evacuating the passengers as the track was in a cutting. The only way to get down was by cutting through a fence and going down a steep embankment, or by walking down the dangerous collapsed bridge. In total, 84 people died, with 213 people being injured, most of them being seriously. One of the deaths was an unborn child, which was the youngest victim of this disaster. The New South Wales Fire Brigade had to pump fresh air into wreckage due to the LPG, making it impossible for rescue crews to get inside the mangled timber. But why? Why did such a disaster have to happen? The ATSB investigation brought up many alarming findings. The original inquiry found out the primary cause of the crash was, quote, the very unsatisfactory condition of the permanent way, as in the poor fastening and condition of the old track, causing the rails to spread out and derail the hurdling slugger. This was later found to be a cover-up, and 30 years later it was revealed what the true cause was. The real cause was a lack of maintenance for 4620. The L6 wheel on the train had become worn past its limit in August 1976. The wheel, however, was not replaced, but the engine would be kept under surveillance. The reason it wasn't replaced is due to the PTC having scrapped the spare wheels for funds to its budget. Another factor was the bridge itself. When it was built, it was found that the base of the deck was 1 meter lower than the road. This was rectified using concrete, which might have amplified the crash. Another fault was that if they had rebuilt the bridge without pillars, no collision and collapse would have occurred. For 39 years, the survivors and victims had little to say until the Granville Train Disaster Association Incorporated was formed. On the 4th of May 2017, Gladys Berejiklian gave a formal apology to the victims. Shortly after the disaster, a voluntary group collected unknown donation amounts to allegedly erect a memorial wall for ongoing memorial services. Families and friends of the victims and survivors gather with surviving members of the rescue crews annually. The ceremony ends with the throwing of 84 roses onto the tracks to mark the number of passengers killed. In 2007, a plaque was placed on the bridge to mark the efforts of the railway workers who assisted in rescuing survivors from the train. In 1998, Umbrella Entertainment would produce the docudrama The Day of the Roses, recounting the events of the crash. A TV documentary called The Train, produced by Graham McNeice, aired in 2012 on the History Channel and was narrated by Brian Henderson. But this wasn't the only time a train crashed because of a broken wheel. On January 15th, 2014, a double-decker Tangara train on the Eastern Suburbs line derailed at Edgecliff. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured. 43 years have passed, and to this day, the Granville train disaster remains the worst rail disaster not just in New South Wales, but in the whole of Australia. Hopefully, a rail tragedy like this will never occur again.